All right, another month, another tier list, and we're coming in hot. Literally, because the one ultimate is here, and he's pretty hot. He's in flames, actually. Three new characters. One character that you probably don't even know what he does because no one has access to him yet, but we know his skills, we know his stats. I think I'm comfortable placing him on a tier list, which is Grimoire. You might not even know there's a Grimoire that just came out. He's a free character tied to the new event that is very time gated, which I'll eventually make the showcase once I get him. But yeah, we're ranking the three new characters and making some adjustments. This is the PvP tier list. Before any adjustments, I will be making some actually because the meta has been shook quite a bit. This is the PvE tier list. I'm just gonna scroll kind of slowly. But again, I'll be making slight changes here once we get into it. So let's talk first about Cusack. And I know people want to ask Escanor, but you know the answer. Cusack is really good. I mean, he's just really, really good. The thing is that it's an interesting situation for Cusack because I think he is the last demon buff that we're going to be getting for quite some time, unless we, for the end of December, end up actually getting Demon King Meliodas, which we could, but it's not anything confirmed or anything like that. But it seems like that way, and the way that he leaves the demon team currently is in a pretty strong position. Aside from this guy just coming out, like this guy is just so powerful, right? But I think Cusack is a really, really powerful character. I rate him the same I would rate Zeldris, so I think I'll put him all the way up here. If you have, skipped Cusack because he's like not a exclusive character, don't feel bad that he's really good. You will eventually pull him. He's a start tickets, same thing as Chandler. I do also think Chandler is good. And he is up here, right? He is still at like both of these tiers to me are characters that are usable, right? Characters that you can bring and use, right? But it just feels like the pierce increase is not as valuable as the tankiness that this guy provides. One big problem though, if you face an Escanor, his passive does nothing except the attack release stat increase. That's a big problem. This guy just kind of messes up a lot of the demon team, which makes me almost want to make a whole separate tier just for Escanor. Legitimately, it makes me want to. Let me make some other adjustments here first, actually. I was meaning to do that first before even ranking Cusack. I am bringing down Terry because right now, there's no reason to use him. There's just legitimately no reason. And honestly, I'm pretty comfortable with no one else going down from meta. You might even, think I might take down... If you've, been playing PvP, you might honestly think it might be worth putting down the Ragnarok team, because the Ragnarok team hasn't really been used that much, because the Mono Green is basically the Ragnarok team, but better. And I think I'll do that. Actually, I was thinking of not doing that, but I think I will. The Ragnarok team had a really good spam of like a few weeks where it was the #1 team. And I think now it has really fallen off because it was strictly DPS. It's a DPS only team. And right now, there is a better team at what they do, right? The Mono Green team is just what they did, but better. And it doesn't rely on lowering enemy stats, which, guess what? This guy... this guy just changes the game so much because characters like Zeldris lose a lot of value. This guy even loses a lot of value. Characters that lower enemy stats lose a lot of value by his sheer existence, right? So I think that the Ragnarok team, it's worth putting it down because of that. It's still a usable team, if you use, it's like any character right here is still like very much usable, right? Obviously. I'm putting up Lolly Merlin. Weird one, but if you've seen how the game has been playing out, she pairs up incredibly with the one ultimate, and against the one ultimate because of the biggest damage cap, right? She's not a target for his finger attack because of that, and just in general, very, very good. I was thinking of moving up Faradrin. Where's Faradrin? Wherever he is. But honestly, when we're talking about these types of characters, right, Faradrin and Liz, I will always rate Liz higher than Faradrin because of that full heal. And I think it should remain the same. But I will put a note that Faradrin is incredibly good right now in the meta because of Escanor. I didn't want to, but I think I have to. Easton has to go up. A character that released and seemingly like no place at all in the game was a setup for Escanor. She was a setup for Escanor. The best counter against Escanor is this Liz, right? Because it forces the enemy to think twice before using Escanor, since the AoE cards will kill her, right? Escanor technically has 2 AoE cards. So when you have this girl on the back of your team, she lowers the enemy ultimate gauge when Escanor kills someone, and increases everyone's basic stats. Is it everyone or just him? Actually, if Escanor kills, does she increase everyone's stats or just him? No. It's okay, it's just him. But regardless, it's still, I think, worth putting up because of that. A unit that counters Escanor's greatest counter, I think, should be worth mentioning going up. And I think it's also worth putting up, where is it? Oh, Green Galfer. Green Galfer pairs up incredibly with Escanor. It's just like, it comes in waves, right? There's a lot of characters that, depending on the meta, what they do doesn't make any sense to be considered good. And Green Galfer was like that. Until now, essentially. There was no point using Green Galfer. Legitimately no point. But now with the 1 ultimate, there is. You know what? I'm just gonna rank the 1 ultimate. Obviously, he's the best unit in the game. Like, he's the best unit in the game. He's the best unit in the game. He is the best unit in the game. I genuinely was thinking before recording that I should make a tier just for him, because he is above everyone else. I don't think that he's so much above that he warrants actually having his own tier, which is why I didn't. But he is above everyone else. He is the #1 character in the game. He is above Trader Meliodas. You know, overall speaking, Trader Meliodas was the #1 character in the game to me. He wasn't the #1 PvP character in the game. But when it comes to, like, overall, because he was so powerful in both PvP and PvE, I just considered him the #1 character. Escanor is #1 in PvP and #1 in PvE. He is #1. Like, he is #1. Should I go on my channel? Like, actually, it's crazy to me, right? How crazy he is. Because if you go, like, the 1 ultimate with no team versus Tower of Trials. I soloed most of these stages. Like, some stages you can't solo because there's, like, requirements. Like, characters having to die, stuff like that. My channel is just Escanor. Legit, every single one of these videos is from Escanor. Because he does so much. Oh, except this one. He does so much. He is super good against dogs. I just did dogs, like, a few hours ago. You know, no problem. It's like, he's so good. It's crazy to me. He is like what Trader Mally was when Trader Mally came out. Because Trader Mally came out, and he was so overwhelmingly powerful for PvE and PvP. He was. And the 1 is that again. Like, these end-of-year characters are not messing around. And the character we're going to get for December might just be the same thing. Cusack for PvE, sorry. Cusack actually isn't so bad for PvE, you know, because he actually works. Unlike a character like Zeldris, which I have to rank all the way down here because his passive is PvP only, I actually can rank Cusack pretty decently. I would rank him like here, you know? I think he's pretty good. So that's where I would rank him for PvE. You can use him in the back for the, like, if you're using like a Demon Salve or like Trader Mally and stuff like that, and you get a decent amount of attack related stats and stuff. He's not like amazing, but pretty good, which is like what this tier is basically for. So yeah, Cusack is actually usable for PvE. Now Grimoire. Were there more changes? I feel like, yeah. I really, really wanted to put down some characters because, like, genuinely, there's a lot of characters that have become unusable. There have been characters that have become unusable because of Escanor. I mean, you can't use her. Like, there's 2 teams now that she's, like, unusable against. It's just not gonna happen. You can't use her. I mean, you can. They're competent here. I think this tier is still characters that you could mess around with, you know? But it's not recommended. It's just not recommended, right? You know, I've been thinking of putting up Light Liz, but I won't. Just because I hate her. No, it's not. That's not why. I think Light Liz is a good pair with Escanor, actually. Which is why I was actually thinking of moving her up. I won't. Just because I just don't see it. You know, it's a me thing. It's my tier list. It's a me thing, right? I just don't see, in PvP, Light Liz being on the same tier as any of these characters. Legitimately, any of these. Okay. Maybe she could be in the same tier as Zeldris. It's so hard. I don't want to put down Zeldris. I don't want to put down these characters or lower enemy stats, right? The Demon team is in a really weird position right now because their best gimmick is lowering the enemy's stats. Esterosa, encroachment. Amazing. One-shots anyone. Chandler, anytime they attack you, they get their stats lowered. Oh, Zeldris, attack lowers all the enemies. Cusack, crit chance and crit damage lowers all the enemies. This guy doesn't care about it, and he is on almost every match. It's insane. Also, I was thinking of putting down Raphtalia. I won't, but I was thinking about. Because so many Ludociels are around. Like, if you don't face a Ludociel, using Raphtalia is fine. You may even be able to face, you know, Escanors that are going first and be completely fine. If it's an Escanor that's like using like Liz or like Galfer, right? It seems like that. You can be completely fine using Raphtalia and Nafumi, of course. But if you face a Ludociel, it's over. Like, it's over. Your characters are unusable. So that's, in the current meta, something to be worried about. Genuinely. Like, it's so many players using Ludociel that a character like Raphtalia might be worth putting down. I think I will, actually. It's just only because that. Not now for me. Now for me is just built different. you can face Ludociels and still win. But not Raphtalia. Because you can use now for me in many different teams. But yeah, just unfortunate. It's just a circumstance. It's with every meta. It's what I just said about Galfer, right? There's a lot of metas where what characters do don't make any sense to be relevant. And Raphtalia, because Ludociel is so relevant, so many players are using him, she becomes less relevant. It is what it is, right? Who's missing? Oh yeah, Grimoire. So I'm gonna actually have to explain what Grimoire does because, you know, I expect most people watching to know what the characters do. That's why I don't waste time explaining. Like, obviously, you know, I hope that you watch my videos. So you know what Cusack does, you know what Escanor does, especially what Escanor does, right? But Grimoire... So, what does he do? He's a defense scaler. It's really strange. For every buff he has, he increases his defense-related stats by 20%. The problem is that he has Grimoire stats. Now, if you go... Oh, I don't have the game open. If you go look at his stats, and let's open Game With, because Game With will provide the stats. He actually has okay basic stats. No, not just okay. He has good defense basic stats. If you go sort by HP, is it sort by HP? Yeah, Grimoire has the highest HP in the game. Like, this is actually very good, right? I can compare with like the SR Grimoires because you're obviously gonna have less HP, but he has the highest HP in the game. I don't know about defense. How high his defense stat is? Doesn't seem to be very high. Regardless, he has good basic stats, but he doesn't have good overall stats. 0 pierce, 10 resistance, 0 regen. I mean, let's not even talk about the crit chance and crit damage, right? 30 crit resistance, that's terrible. 50 crit defense. So you'd have to give this guy so many buffs for him to be actually warranted, like, he should be usable. So he has a basic stat card. This is the same as, what's her face? Derriere, right? So most of the time if you're playing PvP, you're only going to be using this. So that's 3 buffs. 3 buffs, is it 20 each? 60% defense for the stats. It's just not good enough. Not good enough. So you'd have to have another source of like buffs coming towards him. And he's a defense scaler. He's a detonate card, single target defense scale. Just very bad. I mean, if you ult with him, he's going to increase his defense related stats by like 480%. Then this card is going to nuke, right? But no. It's just not. For now, because I haven't used him, I can't use him. I will give him this tier, right? I will put him here. But potentially I could be overestimating how good he can be, or maybe underestimating. I can't imagine him being as good as any of these characters. I'm thinking of putting Red Guffer up as well, only not because of how squishy he is on his playstyle. You might as well use like Summer Merlin. I just can't. And then for PvE, he sucks. I mean, oh, I would put him like here. I mean, I wouldn't put him here because all these characters are like unusable. She's not unusable in PvE. Oh, why is she down there? What? She's not unusable in PvE. There might be some other characters I mistakenly put there, but I can't see any right now. So if you see any, let me know. But I can't see any. He doesn't seem to be completely useless, but he's not that great either. So that's where I'm putting him, and that's it. So let me know what you think of the tier list. Let me know what you think of the new characters. I mean, this guy almost deserves his own tier, because if you recall, I used to have a tier for broken characters, which was... It was due... Big Chuban, or was it the one? I don't recall exactly who made me want to make a tier just for broken characters. He makes me want to do it again. He's just that powerful.